and welcome to today's episode. I am always delighted when we have this time together to come and sit and talk and engage in real life-changing and meaningful conversations that literally move the needle of our lives. Welcome, everyone, to A Balanced Life. On today's show, I'm very excited that we have invited three wonderful women who will just stimulate us in so many ways as it relates to what it is we need to do every day to live balanced. I know it's not easy, and I say it to myself sometimes. Just because I make it look easy doesn't mean it isn't heavy. Everybody, welcome to today's segment of A Balanced Life. And I'd like to bring in for just a moment Aisha Pugh. This young woman is so exciting and engaging. In her own way, she has brought to us just some of what it means to take a moment to exhale, take a moment to breathe in the midst of running her own business, in the midst of being a mother and a wife. Aisha has found a way to entertain us all while getting herself together. Everyone, Aisha Pugh. Hey, Aisha Pugh.
Hello there. How are you?
I am doing well. I am excited that you are joining us today. And if you would share with our audience a little bit about who you are, your brand, your business.
Yes. So my name is Aisha Pugh. I am the owner of Amped Hair and Makeup. It is a beauty business. I do pretty much everything beauty. I do makeup. I do a little bit of hair. I have my own lipstick and lip gloss line. I'm also dabbling and doing a little bit of beauty styling now, which means I'm trying to get you together head to toe. So that's just a little bit about myself. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm an entrepreneur, daughter of Jesus Christ. So that's just a little bit about me.
And that little bit in a nutshell really explains and opens our audience up to want to engage with you more. Let me tell you, you as a business owner, right in the midst of this pandemic, you were drawing us in with your TikTok videos. You were sharing with us about how to build a brand, and the pandemic happened. Yeah. And I saw a little bit of your shimmer fade as you had to deal with what it meant to now become a mom and a teacher and a chef and all things related to this pandemic. For parents who are trying to discover, as we are now in this very big part of 2022, and seemingly wanting to know if we get quarantined again, what are some of the ways in which you saw yourself, Aisha, really being able to make the most of this really difficult situation?
So at first, I really had to just take a deep breath. Let me just say that, because once everyone got inside of the house the last time in the quarantine, at first it was all fun and games. But then after that, it was just like, oh, Aisha, you just need a little breather. And so I think it's important, especially as a mom and a wife, to actually find a way to take time for yourself, which is why I started doing the driveway breaks, because I was like, I just got to go somewhere, because I couldn't go out in public actually to, relieve myself of, any tension, not that anything bad was going on in the house. I just needed a break. So as far as that is concerned, I would start going outside in the car just to take a deep breath, because it's really needed, because everybody needs you for something, cooking, and you got to clean up, and you got to make sure the kids are doing their schoolwork. And so I was kind of slipping to the side as far as taking time for myself. My normal is to go out and go shopping. And so I started doing that, just to kind of take a breather. And then as far as the business is concerned, it was a big shift, because with me doing makeup and me being face to face with people, providing services, of course, I had to stop doing that. So I had to really sit down and come up with a way to figure out how I was going to still have some income coming in. So that's when, over the break, that's when I did start doing the lip glosses and the lipsticks, because people still, the ladies anyway, we still like to shop. Most of us were still shopping online. So I really just came up with a way to kind of shift that side of the business to doing some e-commerce. And all of that came about just sitting in the driveway. Honestly, it really did. Just taking that time for myself.
That's very interesting because so many people, in a lot of ways, and I get it, the pandemic shook us at our core. And in
Yes.
some ways, we were trying to figure out how do we just move our lives forward. But for you, being an extremely artistic and creative person, your positive self-talk sitting in the driveway led to revenue streams of income. And, there's some of your videos where you're talking and you're doing this really deep, introspective look at who is Aisha.
Yeah.
Can you share with some of the moms out there, and I know their dads out there sitting in their driveway too, but what does it mean to get in your own zone and just have talk with yourself so that you can emerge a better person?
So I really think, going out there again, just taking a minute to just pump my brakes, like I said, and just sit in that car and become as one with myself. Because again, I am in the house trying to make sure everybody else is taken care of, but I did not have the space inside the house. And I mean, not anywhere in the house. I could go to the kitchen, the bathroom, anywhere, and people were just coming, like, I need. But honestly and truthfully, when I sat in the car, I was able to get on my phone. I was able to check emails. I was able to talk to my friends privately without being interrupted. And I really was able to just sit in there and say, okay, Aisha, what is going to be your next move? Aisha, how are you going to go in the house and just find a way to move about where you could still be you could still help them out a little bit? And I really just sat there. Honestly, I had to really talk to God about this. And honestly, I could show you notes on my phone where I was just in the car, just in that quiet space, just writing down and jotting down things, on my phone about, I could do this, and maybe I could do that, and maybe I could do that. And it brought me so much solace. I mean, it brought me so much peace of mind to just be able to have, that space and time to figure out what I was going to do, how I was going to shift, how I was going to have my peace, if I needed to pray, if I needed to laugh, if I needed to cry, all of that.
I love what you're saying. As the audience is listening, and I know you guys connect with Aisha Pugh at Amped. Let me just tell you, as I'm listening to you talk, Aisha, you bring some stimulation in the sense that, one, it's okay to have time to self. Yes. Two, don't feel guilty about needing to steal time away. At one point, did you ever feel guilty about just breaking camp?
I did not. I did not feel guilty at all, because one thing, I am the only female in my household. Let me just say that. So I have 2 sons and I have a husband. So it has always been of great importance to me to be able to have time to myself as a woman. I need that time. I don't have, any other, ladies or daughters or sisters, anything to share that within the household. So it's always been of importance to me to be able to have that time. So when that was taken away, and I couldn't go anywhere, then I had to go outside. I couldn't even do the porch. I had to go get in my car, lock the door, and just have that Aisha time. So whatever that meant, I sat in that car and it was displayed on my videos, and I talked about what I needed to talk about. And it felt so good to just have that time. So no, I didn't feel guilty at all. It felt great.
That's wonderful. And I know that we're going to show this clip because your driveway break was suddenly interrupted by a tiny little stalker. And so everybody, when we come back, enjoy this clip, and we'll talk more after the break on what it means to really settle in and having a balanced life, but also where do you escape? Now, I have to tell you, there's some forms of escapism that can truly be detrimental to your health. They won't provide any sense of balance at all. However, I think as a coping skill and mechanism, it's important that we begin to engage and understand and really connect with one another as a sense of community. And when we come back after our break, I want to talk to Stacey Owens. Now, Stacey, she is truly an individual that you will all be able to identify with, and we'll be back in a moment on A Balanced Life.
You come out here, okay? Out there, fixing food and cleaning up and asking everybody to move their stuff all day and night and every other time of day it is. You just lose track of time sometimes. So anyway, welcome to episode 3 of the driveway break. I'm just out here trying to take a quick driveway break. How was y'all's weekend? I hope y'all had a good weekend, because my weekend was great. I had to go, run out of town real quick because they gave us the official come back and get your kids' stuff, one at a time, of course. I know he is not out here while I'm taking my driveway break.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. If you're just joining us, today is one of those days where we're sitting and we're talking about the stress and strain of life. And I can tell you that we have had no shortage of having our dreams, our plans, our goals in life interrupted by this pandemic. And now here we are, January 2022, and we're wondering with this variant of Omicron just what it will look like for all of us. So today I've invited Stacey Owens, an educator, an entrepreneur, and charter school developer, to just engage with us in what this looks like for teachers and their well-being as we continue to seek to guide our parents and families toward academic excellence. Everyone, Stacey Owens.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hey, Stacey, it's so good to see you and welcome to A Balanced Life. Wow, you're doing it all. You are in that space of making sure that not only you as a charter school owner and developer, but as a keeper of the lives of our kids, as a steward over your staff. Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing to help educators keep it together.
So my name is Stacey Owens. I am the CEO and founder of Zecca School of Arts and Technology, which is a K-8 charter school. And I'm also CEO and founder of Creating Z LLC. In terms of keeping teachers balanced, wow, a lot has changed in education. Everybody is still seeking our normal. And now normal is not normal anymore. And as we adjust to this pandemic, adjust to having our students on campus, keeping our teachers from burning out from the extra duties that they've had to pick up, and the safety measures that we've had to put in place to keep our students and our staff COVID-free and able to learn on campus, it has been a lot of balancing and changing that has had to occur. And we have tackled that by ensuring that we focus on not just the social and emotional well-being of our students, but also the social and emotional well-being of our teachers.
Now, your teachers play a very big role in how schools function. You offer to not only your teachers, but others that are in this space an opportunity to come on retreat to reflect and get away. And I know that you've done that by Zoom in the past. And a part of what I love about who you are and what you do is you really see your teachers in a humanitarian aspect. Why is it important for administrators to really look at the lives and really see their teachers as people, not just workers?
That's what we asked our teachers to do. When you think about building student-teacher relationships, one of the best relationships that a teacher can build with a student is when that student is able to see that teacher from a humanistic point of view, when they know that they care about them. So why aren't we as educational leaders doing the same thing for our teachers? We have to see our teachers first as humans. Teachers walk around with a big S on the chest. Everybody think that they're the superheroes, and everybody has placed all these expectations on our teachers to make some adjustments and corrections to whatever is occurring in the world. And if we're going to charge them with that, such a heaviness that they have to carry, we need to find a way to help them be balanced and understand that they live their lives, they have their issues, their traumas, and so forth as well. And so we have to make sure that we keep them balanced so that they're able to have something within them to pour into our students.
Wow, you've said a lot. And that means for us that as parents, teachers, administrators, and educators, we really need to focus in on why it's important to build, as you said, those social emotional connections. As a community leader, Stacey, in providing your retreat and this way of escape for other individuals, the stress and strain for you of just leadership and making all these moving parts fit together like a well picturesque photograph. How do you do it? How do you keep Stacey together?
I would say that I keep Stacey together by seeking a balance mentally, spiritually, and physically. So pre-pandemic, and I increased it during the pandemic, I made time to focus on my physical health. I made sure that I started exercising with the trainer. I just started finding ways to get out and find natural ways to soak up some vitamin D and take walks and different things like that. And then spiritually, I had to tap into God and ask him to help show me what is my part that I need to play in as we navigate through determining what this new normal is going to look like in education. And so I meditate a lot. I use a lot of sound meditation. And then I would say mentally, I just know that one, I have to wake up every morning and reflect on what I am. You have to know who you are so that the world won't define that for you. So every day I wake up with my affirmations of who I am. I tap into knowing that everything that I need is already within me. That is a strong belief that I follow. And so as long as I can stay connected to my true self, and I walk in this space and in this journey just operating intentionally from my true self, then everything else falls into place.
Wow, everything will fall into place. You said something that really resonates with me in this season that we're in, and that's how we mentally shift, pivot, and adapt. And adaptability is not a skill set that many people possess because, as you stated, there's this time where other people seemingly are defining us and what life should look like for us. Can you give us one or two tips about how you would aid parents and teachers as it relates to being able to shift just a little their perspective of how they're dealing with 2022 and coming into this new school year?
For my parents, we stress operating and thinking from having an understanding instead of operating from fear. A lot of times we let our fear of the unknown overtake us, and then we start becoming takers of anything that we hear. So I stress for my parents just to have an understanding of this pandemic and how it's affecting us as a school. So we do a lot of parent trainings and giving our parents an opportunity to come in and learn about the different resources that are available and the impact that the pandemic have on the population of students that we serve. And we also do that with our teachers. So pre-pandemic, we were a 4-day operational school, and we maintain that within the pandemic so that we can intentionally build in those times so that every Monday we're having conversations with our staff about just how to navigate this new space.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And last thing for you, during the pandemic, especially at its height, and when kids were out and they were, having to figure out where they were going to get meals from, you created an opportunity and your staff went above and beyond, not just feeding your kids, but you fed the entire community. It didn't matter what block they were on or what school they went to. For teachers and administrators who are trying to figure out what Omicron is going to do in this school year, how would you or share with them the ability to make those right partnerships in the event they have to expand their reach so that everyone is taken care of?
So find out what's available in your community first and foremost. We've had some wonderful support with some partners who've come together and provided the food for us to give out to our students and members in the community as well. We established a blessing box in front of our facility where we were able to put food and resources, clothing, shoes, anything in this box, and anybody in the community can come and take part in it. And it picked up really good because now we're not even putting as much stuff in as other people from the community is coming together and adding blessings to the box for others to enjoy. So just reaching out to the different resources within the community and then thinking outside of the box. We try to think about it from that Maslow hierarchy of need. I knew that in order for my students to come and be academically successful, we had to make sure that we removed any distractions that they may have been having outside of an academic distraction. So we just worked really hard to find different resources to allow us to take care of any need that may come up.
Wow. Thank you, Stacey, so much for joining us today. Everybody stay tuned. Stacey will be back with us when we have our group conversation and dialogue. And let me tell you, the dialogue that we're going to have today, literally, when we talk about how we're strained and how we're stressed and how we're stretched, is nothing short of miraculous that some of us are really holding it all together. You know, a few weeks back, we had a conversation with Charlotte Avery, and I'm excited that Charlotte is back as one of our regular contributors because it's important for us that we continue to engage in what I consider to be substantive conversation around balance. When we come back, Charlotte is going to share with us just a little bit more about what it means to not only be a mom of 7 and a wife, but literally, she has a PhD in motherhood. And so when we come back, Charlotte Avery.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us today. I'm so excited that you are here and joining us each week on A Balanced Life. Hey, Charlotte.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, and welcome back, my love. I am so excited to always have conversation with you.
As I am also, thank you.
So, Charlotte, school has started. It's January. How are things shaping up in the Avery household for back to school?
Well, right now, it's not, we're just kind of holding our breath. We're kind of waiting to see what they're going to do. Are they going to shut down school? Some of my kids are like, one of my kids, Sam, just asked me this morning, can we speak to the superintendent? Because I think we should just be home from school. And so I thought that was really funny coming from my now 12-year-old asking me that question. But, we're just taking everything one day at a time, just one day at a time.
I find it interesting. Your kids are so vocal, and I love that about them, how they're able to, you have this sense of community inside a community in your home. And as you think about the stress and strain that this pandemic has had your kids and your family in this push and pull relationship, I'm wondering often, how does Charlotte pull Charlotte together? Ever before she walks out of her room, ever before she sees the faces of these bright, shiny little kiddos, what does Charlotte do for Charlotte?
Well, first of all, Charlotte is usually the first one awake. And when my eyes open up in the morning, I just sit there in my bed and I just lay there and I just say, God, I thank you for another day. Now let's rock and roll and see what the day is going to bring. But I also, encourage myself, and I just tell myself, you know what, today is going to be a good day. And even if yesterday wasn't the best day, today's going to be a better day.
So you find that self-reflection and engagement with self is one of the ways that other individuals can, getting out of the bed these days is hard. And I had to pause my thought for a moment in that, because I even find that there's some days that are a little bit more difficult than others. And even though each day is a new day, Charlotte, you said something very interesting. You have to stop for that moment and tell yourself, what are some affirmations that you tell yourself that our audience can glean from that can help them move the needle in their lives?
So one thing that I tell myself is, I'm not a perfect mom, but I'm the best mom that I can be for myself, for my kids. I'm the best woman that I can be. I'm the best wife that I can be for my husband. And so that's one thing. Another thing that, I tell myself is, what? I'm doing a good job. Like through everything that's going on, I'm doing a good job. And as I coach other moms and other women and remind them that they're doing a good job, I remind myself that, what, Charlotte, you're doing a darn good job too.
Now, I've seen on your social media, you have these affirmations that you say you post around your home, and every now and then you post a few of them. And I think that a lot of people have gotten to that space where we're running to various stores and we're putting these placards, on our walls, and we're allowing ourselves to see the good in these bad times that we're facing. What can you say are a few of your favorite words or sayings that you have posted around?
So one of them, one of my favorites is, I believe it says, good moms have laundry piles, dust bunnies, and messy kitchens, or something like that. Another one that I have is, God help me to, what does it say? Help me to please keep your hand over my mouth, so that I won't lose self-control, or something like that. I can't remember all of them, but I literally have them posted everywhere. Oh, and another one I have is, we dance in this kitchen, because we do a lot of dancing in our kitchen. And then another one I have is, this kitchen would be clean if you people would stop eating here. And then one of my favorites is hanging on my refrigerator. It says, I'm just a girl looking at the refrigerator, wondering how dinner's gonna make itself.
I love that. I think that this pandemic has shown the people who live in our houses that you're only a single person, and it requires all of us. I really do wonder what our families think we do when they're not there. It's like we're not just sitting around with our feet on the couch and, just running around with tunes in our head. There's a lot of work that goes into maintaining a home, maintaining a self, making everything look great for when they get back from school and work and all of the various places that our children and our spouse find themselves. And so, Charlotte, one of the things that I love about you is that, number one, you don't look like a mom of 7. So clearly you have some type of fitness routine or some way in which you find comfort in the body that you're in.
Yes. So pre-pandemic, I had a gym membership. I would get up, at 5 o'clock to be in the gym before my kids went to school, so that I could be home by the time it was time to get them to school. Now, I canceled my gym membership, because of the pandemic. And so now, I try to take walks in my neighborhood. I try to go online and do workouts online. And, let's just face it, I have a lot of children and a husband, and I do a lot of laundry. So, lifting up laundry baskets and, going up and down the stairs is my thigh workout. I think that really counts for working out and all of those different things. So I really, I try to drink a lot of water and stay hydrated and take vitamins and just really take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of me, then everything and everybody else is going to be a mess.
Now, you bring up a very valid point, because oftentimes there's guilt associated with not being able to go to the gym. We become so conditioned that we needed a gym membership. We had to get to this place. We had to go to that place. And one of the things that this pandemic has taught us is that if we have an app, if we have a watch, if we have some type of a device, why not turn your watch on and call it stairs when you're running up and down the stairs with the laundry? And why not call it some type of strength training, when you have to pack your kids and help them with their backpack and bring the groceries in? I mean, there's so many ways, Charlotte, that we can change our mindset. And sometimes just when our brain gets off kilter, it makes us crazy. Can you share some ways that you allow your mental shift to take place so that you're at a sense of peace and balance and calm in your own life and spirit?
Oh, that is such a really good question, Dr. Jacquie. So for me, my mental shift usually takes place in the shower, in a hot shower, when I'm praying that nobody will knock on my door.
What do I want for Mother's Day? You know what I want for Mother's Day. I want for you and all of the other humans that I birthed out of this body to agree with God and the one who helped create you, your dad, that you will no longer come up here bypassing your dad to ask me for stuff when I am in the shower and or using the bathroom. You know you saw your dad downstairs. Go back downstairs and ask your dad. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask?
Or I can just kind of stand there and just feel the water beating off of me. That's really super hot, but still I can just kind of stand there and woosah and breathe and just really kind of just say, okay, what's going to be the next thing? What is going to be the next priority that I have? Because, as you know, and we talked about this before, balance doesn't exist in my life because I'll never be able to give equal weight and equal time to anything or anyone. And so, I'm always, looking at my priorities and seeing the things that matter, knowing that at the drop of the dime, that priority could shift and move. And I have to ask myself, what, am I going to get mad about it? Or am I going to just go with the flow? And so, I just really try to just take moments to breathe and to exhale deeply, inhale deeply and exhale deeply so that I can gather myself and center myself in a place where I can say, okay, everything is going to be okay and all things are well because we're all here and we're alive and we're well together.
Thank you, Charlotte. That's super rich information. I pray that our audience is taking the notes from the wisdom tips that you're giving today, because each and every time that we find ourselves in a different situation, sometimes we stop and we pause. And sometimes we have to shift our thinking and our way of looking at things. And, Charlotte has said some really great things to us as it relates to how to live a blended life. Because for me, balance is what I strive for. And in Charlotte's home and in her heart, she blends who she is with the environment that she finds herself in. And so, audience, maybe today that's you. It's quite possible in retrospect that you may not be able to balance a single thing, and that's okay. Maybe you need to blend your life and find ways to have a beautiful ebb and flow that really makes sense to you. And there are other times where you just need to throw it all up in the air and just kind of see where it falls. Everybody, I'm excited that Charlotte had an opportunity to join us. When we come back from our break, we're going to have this group conversation and dialogue. I'm so excited to invite all of these ladies back as we really think about what it looks like and what it means to collect ourselves, to gather ourselves, and to have, good people around you in this space during this time of pandemic. So we'll be back in a moment after the break on A Balanced Life.
Pull up a chair, take your seat at the Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all. All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Everyone, we are back. And now I want to bring everybody back in because I think it's important that we have this conversation about our belief system. And I think that as we engage in balanced life, a blended life, a blessed life, all of these things work together. Hey, everybody. Hey. I'm excited that you all are here. And a part of who we are falls in line with our faith and our belief system and who we are as daughters of God. Mm-hmm. And so I know that it's uncommon for people to talk about faith on a talk show, but let me just say, here at A Balanced Life, faith is a very big part of who we are and how we move and have our being. And I want to start with Charlotte. And Charlotte, your belief system as it relates to your children and your husband and your family, it really falls in line with how you blend your life. Can you share with our audience why faith is important?
Without faith, I don't know what I would be doing. I mean, because this whole journey, even, when you decide to get married, it's a faith walk. When you decide to bring children into the world, no matter how many of them you have, whether it's one child, two children, or 7, it's a faith walk. When you decide to be a woman and an entrepreneur and mom it and wife it and do all of it, and you're trying to have it all at the same time, it's a faith walk. And so, for me, I know that there is nothing, absolutely nothing that I could do without my faith, my trust, and my belief in God. There's no way I could do it. I couldn't. I mean, I live a life of prayer and fasting and, just really laying before God and asking him, what is going to be the next thing? What should I do? Because I don't have all the answers. So there's no way I could do what I do without my faith in God.
Faith is so important, and that does fall in line with where we go, how we see ourselves, and not only what we impart to our children, but how we present ourselves to the world. Now, Aisha, you have, so I've heard, an amazing voice, and I know that faith and spirituality is a very big part of who you are. And because we're no longer, able to get to church and have worship, and you're not out there singing, how do you still utilize your voice as a woman of God to bring joy not only to your home, but to others?
So let me just tell you, I'm at home singing all the time. Let me just tell you that, okay? So I'm recording myself, or if I'm in the kitchen somewhere, preferably where there is a lot of acoustics. I do like to still sing, but it's very important to me as far as my faith in God. My number one thing is to just trust in God, whether it's with my voice or whatever I'm doing. But I definitely still, you might catch some TikTok videos or some videos out there where you will hear me singing every now and then. But because God is so good. I mean, he has kept us, we've lost a lot of people. A lot of people have lost businesses. So it is definitely always important to make sure that you know who the source is and where that help comes from with everything. So definitely still trying to use my voice in that aspect. Got to get back out there a little bit more, but that's what I do.
Well, I want to thank you in advance because certainly last year when Easter came around, your car break, oh my God, it was such an anointed time. I mean, she's out there, with her fascinator on, sitting in her car, and probably was a PJ. But I have to tell you, PJs and fascinators are a fashion statement. It's a thing, let me tell you. I think for all of us, we're in that space where we're dressing from the neck up or from the waist up, when it comes to how we engage with God and other people. Now, for Stacey, I know that you deal with a lot of families, and some of them have one parent, some of them have you as an extended family member, some have two parents, some are being raised by their grandparents. In what way, Stacey, do you find that the school and you as a person are able to support people with what they believe? Because some people won't accept help. And why is that important to help people understand the value that our faith system, it positions us uniquely to be able to give to others?
I would say that I've been fortunate here at Zecca where we have left God in schools. So even though the world tell you that we shouldn't do certain things, we find ways to incorporate, I don't push a belief on anyone, but I encourage everyone to identify who that source is for you and then connect to it. So because this whole journey for me started as a gift from God. So I cannot imagine walking this walk without tapping into his direction and his leadership. And so for our families, it has been wonderful, the acceptance that they have had with us and allowing us to have those moments of sharing the gift of the belief. So we just encourage our families to tap into that as well.
Wow. And it is that tapping in for all of us that we can find our sense of strength. It's not going to be easy. I can tell you that we were all caught off guard come March 2020, when they were saying that school was going to be out, that businesses were shutting down. We couldn't go shopping. We couldn't get our hair done. We couldn't go to the nail salon. We were like, excuse me? Who pressed the pause button on all of our lives simultaneously? So let's kind of round robin, if you will. What was the first thought, Charlotte, that went through your head when you learned about the pandemic?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, my hair was one, because I was like, what am I going to do about my hair? Because, I've been on this natural hair journey for a minute, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my hair together? What's going to happen? Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And then the other thing was all of my kids, because, for a time I homeschooled 2 of my kids, but now all 7 of them were at home. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do with all of these people at home underneath the same roof at the same time? And then I just went right back into homeschool mode. And so then it just wasn't so bad.
Awesome. And I think that that's a good perspective, that you look what you've done before that was successful and then find a way, in your words, to blend that in to where you're going next. So Aisha, what was your first thought?
Well, my first thought, I was really scared. I didn't know what was going on. Okay, let me just say that. But I'm also like Charlotte. The next thing I thought was, oh my goodness, we're going to all be in this house together. And that means I'm going to have to cook all these times a day. That really was, that really went through my mind. Like, it's going to be a lot of dishes. It's going to be a lot of shoes around the house. It's going to be a lot of cleaning up. I don't know. So that went through my mind.
I think the phrase, I don't know, probably resonates with all of us. Stacey, for you and the movement that you have, what were your first thoughts? Because you literally had to shift and pivot.
I was overwhelmed. For me, everything was coming so fast, and I had to look at it from 3 folds. I was hearing the concerns and the questions that were coming from parents, the concerns and questions that were coming from staff. The students were looking at you like, what are we doing? And how are we going to do this? The policies, it was like we were flying in a plane that was being built all at the same time. So by the time you would learn one policy, it would change the next day. And so with all that busyness, it became very stressful and overwhelming for me. And so I had to figure out how to silence the noise. I had to figure out, you know what, Stacey, regardless of all this that's going on around us, you have to get a hold of this and get balance and pull in the pieces that are going to make sense for your environment, and then let's make it work. And so after we regrouped and after I regrouped and sort of like silenced myself and got that direction, things started to settle down, and then we were able to make it make sense.
Thank you, ladies, for joining me for this segment. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back on A Balanced Life, we're going to talk to our guests a little bit more. So let me just say, from a spiritual perspective, we don't have all the answers. And sometimes it's important that you get down on bended knee and ask God where to go next. It's seeming as if we want to go back to what used to be. We want to dig into our arsenal and find some way to make all of this make sense. And the reality is, it's time for us to begin to change the way we look at things. And in that, I want to encourage those of you who are believers, whatever your faith system, whatever it is that you have going on as it relates to a higher power, whether you believe in God, the universe, whatever it is that you hold dear in your heart, this will be the time in this season to tap into that. If you walked away from whatever belief system that you have, let me just say, this journey is going to require you to dig a little deeper, have a few more conversations, and just allow yourself to get back to that space and place where something else other than your own thinking and what you know and how you came to be is what you rely on. I honestly believe that it just may get worse before it gets better, but it's because of my faith in God. It's because of who I am in him, knowing full well that he's got me in the palm of his hand, that I am able to traverse these troubled waters. I'm able to just kind of sit back, relax, and settle into the person that I am and keep it moving. And maybe that's my challenge for you today, that you figure out how to let go and let God and keep it moving. Up next, we're going to talk to our guest again on what it means to have a little Jesus and a little therapy, because in all of our lives, it's important.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches. I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all. All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey everybody, welcome back, and thank you for joining us on this segment of A Balanced Life. As we bring in our guests, let me just tease this up a bit. You know, sometimes it's hard. It's hard. It is hard, and it's okay to say that you're not okay. So let's talk for a few moments with our guest about what it means to consider therapy as an option. Now, let me just say, ladies, I know that we've got our good book, we've got our Bible, we've got some great hymns, we've got our prayer, our meditation, and some things that we can truly hang on to. But there's some days and times in our lives where we're like, hello, 1-800, I need a therapist. So I know that it's not easy. So I'm going to start with Aisha. Mm-hmm. Aisha, in this sphere in which you find yourself, has therapy ever entered into the equation for you or your family, just in sometimes thinking about, I was okay for a minute, but I might need to call somebody. And why is it okay?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I can speak from experience. That absolutely did happen to me. That actually happened to me over the pandemic, to be honest with you. I started getting so much anxiety about, what was happening, what was going on, finding out about people that, we were losing that was close to us and things like that. And then I found myself getting in this place where I just wasn't okay anymore. And I was like, whoa, Aisha, what's going on? This has never really happened to you before, because I'm usually quite bubbly. And I'll be quite honest with you. When I was in that space, I did, kind of throw that out to my husband, like, something is wrong. I just don't feel like myself. And I did call my doctor. And to be quite honest, I know, a lot of times with the way, some of us are raised, you just kind of have to get through it and push through it, and it's okay. But I wasn't okay. I did reach out to, my doctor, and I said, hey, I'm not the normal bubbly Aisha that I once was. So I can speak from experience where I did. I'm so glad that I did reach out to her, and she told me exactly what I was experiencing, what was going on with myself. And to be quite honest with you, had I not done that, I don't know that I don't know how I would have been able to, proceed, because I am used to being the strong friend. I am a strong friend. I'm the strong friend that everyone calls. I'm the strong friend, or the friend that everyone, comes to, for the laughter and things like that. But I had to take time and really understand what I was going through. So I think, once you get in a place where you feel like something's not right, I think that, it's okay for you to just take that moment and say, hey, I'm not me. I need to seek some help. So I did.
Thank you for sharing that. And honesty literally is always the best policy. Mm-hmm. I have found that in this pandemic, people who have not been in all of our circles transparent have really become okay with opening up just a little bit more. Stacey, when you think about all the people that you relate to, how does your staff and your teachers, what do they come to you for advice? And then how do you find yourself seeking the direction that you need in order to be everything that they need?
So I believe in providing some type of therapy or a resource for our staff to tap into, so much so that I hired on campus a wellness coach, and I paid for my staff to go and seek individual sessions with the wellness coach, because I need for them to be able to share and be balanced of what was going on with them personally. So if you didn't feel comfortable coming and talking to me, then you could go over to the wellness coach, who was a wellness nurse, and have conversation with her. I also hired a culture consultant. And these are terms that when other schools and other school leaders heard these titles, they were like, what is a culture consultant? Someone that can be on campus and help balance the culture of what we are going through and the transitions that we are handling. So the staff always has someone that they can come and talk to, even if it's not me. So here at Zecca, it is no reason for you to not be mentally balanced, because you have a lot of different resources and different people that you can go to. And I'm actually proud of the fact that I do have some staff that I know that have sought counseling outside of the school as well. And so it's common here. I wanted to make an environment that was conducive to that, to say, don't just leave your problems at the door. That's so taboo in education. You're expected to come in and teach and be that everything to everybody, but your problems are going to be with you. So you got to bring them in the door with you. I just want you to deal with them so that they don't overcome and take you over as you're dealing with the things that we have to do here in education. As for myself, I would say I have a praying mother, so she keeps me prayed up, and I have a lot of support around me that I'm able to tap into as well.
I so appreciate you sharing the resources that are available. And for our audience who are in those environments where you may not necessarily have an administrator like a Stacey, seek outside help, seek counsel, because as she stated, you can't be the best you in the classroom if you're not prepared and ready to deal with some of the triggers that we face during this pandemic. Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, Charlotte, your life with 7 kids, how often is being triggered a norm in your home?
Is that like a trick question? There's like, I'm telling you, there's almost every hour is a trigger because there are just so many people who live in this house. But let me tell you something. I am very transparent about my wellness holistically. And so I tell people all the time, I have God, I have Rod, that's my husband, and I have my therapist. And I am so thankful to God for my therapist because she's probably saved many a person's life up in this house because I have her to talk to and to really just dump on. And every time I'm with her, I always find myself saying, I'm so sorry that I just like totally threw up all over you. And how are you doing? But I'm thankful because that's what she's there for. And so, I am very aware of everything that I have on my plate, all the parts, all the pieces, all the people. And yet I understand that there are times that I get overwhelmed and, to thine own self be true. And so when I'm true to myself, I know when I need to pick up the phone and call my therapist and say, hey, girl, I need to talk. And so I'm thankful for that. I am not so what people would call maybe deep and spiritual and churchy that I don't know how to deal with the practicality of my problems. I'm so glad that I can take it to Jesus, but I'm also glad that I can take it to my therapist because I look at my therapist as Jesus in the flesh. And so I'm thankful for those moments where I have cried and, I've dealt with my own emotions and I've dealt with my other family members' emotions because it's a lot of weight to carry, especially knowing when I have children who are ages 8 to 18 and all of them are different in different stages of life and their needs are different and my husband's needs are different. But, I can't be all things to all people, especially when I'm not all the way together. And so because I recognize that, I thank God for therapy. Oh my gosh, I thank God for therapy because it has helped me. It has helped me to evolve as a person, as a woman, as a wife, and a mother. And I don't know where I would be without my therapist. Honestly, I don't.
There you have it, folks. Therapy all around, therapy for everybody. And it is very necessary. And oftentimes it's been taboo, especially in Black culture, not to, the phrase is this: what happens in this house stays in this house. And oftentimes we don't want to talk about the things that bring us stress, the things that strain us, the things that literally push us to the limit. Aisha said that you need to check on your strong friends. And just about all of you, the 3 of you for certain, are strong friends. And so when you think about, and I'm going to ask this as we prepare to wrap up this segment, I want you to give a takeaway. What is the one thing that you say you take away from therapy that you would share with your audience? So this is y'all as the strong friends for our audience friends. Charlotte, what's the one thing that you would take away from therapy that you would share with our audience that they can use?
Oh my gosh, therapy is necessary and it's important. Therapy should be another part of your support system. I believe that everybody should have a therapist. I believe that you should have somebody who you can talk to, who can keep your stuff confidential. And I think that if any tool that you ever had in your toolbox of support system, it needs to be a therapist. Therapy is good.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Stacey, from your wellness coach's perspective, what is something that you would share with our audience that you have seen and has helped your staff that you would share with them?
I would say the fact that we want everyone to just be intentional with loving yourself first. Everything is encompassed through love. If you can learn to love yourself, then it will help you to be able to love others, and you'll be able to take anything that the world throw at you, actually.
Thank you for sharing that. And Aisha Pugh, as you think about getting out and about, because I know you're a very socially engaged person, and for many people who are like you, I consider Aisha to be an extrovert, not an extreme extrovert, but she's extroverted nonetheless. From your takeaway, what would you share with the audience, people who you don't meet other people, you enjoy other people? What would you say to them? Something that you've gleaned from therapy that guides you, that you could share with others?
I think it's just to be self-aware of who you are as an individual. And some of the things I've heard some of these ladies say, being so much for other people, all the time, you sometimes sit yourself to the side. And I think as far as therapy is concerned, it's a good way for you to explore yourself, to inspire yourself to improve and change in ways that you need to change, and just overall take care of you. So if I had any takeaway, I would just say, as far as therapy is concerned, that is your time for you to figure out who you are, how you're going to improve upon yourself, or what you need to change about yourself, and how to deal with yourself is what I would say.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing and being a part of our show today. Stress and strain, there is not going to be a shortage of it. Let me just say, as we prepare to close with reflection, that stress and strain in an already stretched life is going to continue. So I want you to sit back, buckle your seatbelt, and hold on for the ride. I pray that there's something that we've said here today on this show that will allow you to see that, one, it's okay to seek outside counsel. We all need to talk to someone. So if you're that individual who is short on words and high in emotion, you are a perfect candidate to find a space and place to talk to someone. For those of you who are introverted, who seemingly don't want to talk to anyone and wrap yourself up in a little ball when things aren't going well, it's time for you to blossom. Seek out someone that you can engage with who will guide you, give you the instruction and direction that you need that will allow you to live a more balanced life. I say this from a place of meaning, someone who not only coaches people to live balance, but an individual who has, a therapist on redial, a therapist who is at my beck and call, because there are these days that we each have as we think about everything that we've heard today, that we just aren't able to pull ourselves together by ourselves. Whereas my hashtag may be #IBalanceMe. The way that I balance me is seeking out good people who have good intentions, who can guide me in a great direction. It has been my joy and delight to be with you today on this segment and episode of A Balanced Life. Take care, everyone. God bless.